There's the face. The face you have come to know. Yeah.
Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
Okay.
Good morning. Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
And away we go. There's that face you have come to know. The man with the spectacles. Spectacles. 4 eyes. 4 eyes. Coffee's hot, and I don't have to turn the air conditioning on today because I'm going to just do this real quick.
The Weather Watch forecast.
Currently, it's 54 degrees outside. 54. The high today is only going to maybe reach 70, but it's going to be sunny and it's supposed to be dry. Tonight, it's going to get down to 46. I'm hoping to get another couple dozen tomatoes out of my tomato plants. I hope that 46 isn't too much for those poor things. I mean, tomatoes kind of like it 70-ish, low 80s, 70s, but, you know, plants don't like it when it gets below 50. And after yesterday's cold rain, anyway, the rest of the week, 70. It's what it's like here up in the, a mile away from the entrance to the Northern Appalachian Trail.
The Weather Watch forecast.
You got it. Here we are with the new set. Or the set for the final waning days of Tony Caravan Live, ROCKFLUX.com. We'll be back here and there. And I guess while I was at that, we might as well take a look at the climate, because that's where it's I'll talk about this just for a little bit. This was the best map I was able to come up with. And as you can see, that the remnants of Ida, sweet as apple cider. Anyway, it wasn't so sweet as apple cider for me yesterday, or those other people down south. Anyway, it looks like it's heading out towards the northeast and off the coast, so good riddance of that storm. Something happening in the middle section of the country. There's a big band of storms. More rain coming eastward. Let's hope that it's at least a couple days away. I think it is. It should be. I hope so. I got to do stuff today that you cannot imagine. Otherwise, the rest of the country, as far as precipitation is concerned, looks pretty clean. You might get something down in Virginia, and maybe there's a tad somewhere in North Carolina, in Georgia, you know, on the border with Texas and New Orleans, Arkansas. Florida always got a little bit of stuff going on. Maybe off the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina, but if you're not going out in a boat, you should be okay. So if I did, well, we did say it already, but that's yours.
The Weather Watch forecast.
Okay.
Yeah, enough of that. Enough of that. 2 playbacks, but no concurrent viewers. What does it mean? Hey, I'm in living color for a change, more or less. I mean, I guess it's a little bit off. But so what? Who cares, right? Who cares? You don't care. I almost thought the cat was going to stay downstairs. It made it through the coffee machine, like kind of percolating, so to speak. I don't know how much a $9.88 Walmart coffee machine really percolates, but it made it through the noise, I guess because I was petting him on his back. But ultimately, once I started pouring the coffee, it left. It's 4:19 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Oh, man. It's dark outside. It's night. I did not sleep a full 8 hours, but I did sleep a full 6 hours, I think. You know, maybe close to 7. I got up, laid in bed till about, but I was up at 3-ish. The cat did its usual thing, and I had to move the dehumidifier from the front room into the hallway in between my bedroom, bathroom, and front room. The dehumidifier. Yesterday was an absolute unbelievable tragedy. Now, this rather sterile looking thing was a picture I took very early on. This is this tiny space in the hallway. That door to the left is with whatever that square is on the bottom. That's actually a cat door. Whenever I've moved a place, I always cut a hole in the bottom of the doors and put little things. It's a makeshift cat door. I've mastered the art of making cat doors. Anyway, that's the cat door into the front bedroom, because I like to close bedroom doors at night because inevitably, particularly in drafty houses, it's whether or not especially in the wintertime, you want to keep the heat in. So you don't, some people keep their door open all the time. Well, it's nice if you have central air conditioning, but as you can see here, I don't. And in that front room, that's where I used to stay. But anyway, doors closed. That's a cat door. Above this, which you cannot see, and I was so drained yesterday. I'm surprised I didn't lose, like 6 or 7 pounds. In fact, I stayed the same. But today I'm going to definitely take off 5 pounds. And I'll tell you why. Well, anyway, this was early on. I took the 3 little upstairs rugs I had, and the water was dripping from a lighting fixture. I mean, that cannot be safe. All right? 100-year-old house. And it's probably one of those wires that's been wired for 100 years. The thing, the container, the globe on those kind of lights. I have it in the other room, but it stinks. That's another thing I forgot to throw away or at least sterilize outside. I'm not going to put it back on that light. You have no idea. Water is really bad. Water's really bad. Well, anyway, early on, the light was dripping. The globe thing, whatever, the light cover filled with water, brown water, because it's coming through the funk of 40,000 years, in this case, 100-some years, through the wall, the wood, and the layers from the attic down to this is the second floor hallway. Hardly a hallway. You can see how tiny it is. Anyway, at that point, the main leak was right underneath that light because the light had filled with water and it was dripping from that. And so I put this plastic little tote thing under it. If you look closely, you could see it's like kind of wavy, like water. And then there's a washcloth there, which now that I realize it, that thing was beat to crap anyway, but that's garbage. Because all that stuff, everything you see there, including the white rug that's on the floor underneath all those tiny little, throw rugs or whatever you want to call them, all that stuff eventually, by the end of the day, got rolled up and thrown into a trash bag. At some point, there were like 5 or 6 containers in this spot alone. half of that room to the left, which is the big bedroom, which I don't use because I sleep in the back bedroom, half of the floor in there, the carpet was soaking wet. This is the second floor. This is from leaking from the top floor. All right. You know, pieces of plaster fell down off the roof, off the ceiling. That was a nightmare. So I decided to bring up the old dehumidifier. In my front room above my bed, the tiles up there started to have water marks on them, which will turn into water stains. They're still damp now. Yeah, what could I say? It was like a flood. It rained for a day and a half nonstop. Heavy rain. The upstairs attic was just completely out of control. And the water that was coming down here that it eventually ended up being raining inside, okay, was like a faucet. You know, I had to keep changing that pink thing, and there was like white containers and stuff. I got to the point, it's like when some people tell you, well, why did you take video of it or more photos? It's like, I've got these steep stairs where those plastic things are. That's a thing to keep the air conditioning up so I could divert the air conditioning into my back bedroom. Very complicated thing. Like I said, to give you some kind of tour of this would be virtually impossible. Now, I mean, it would be virtually possible. Like I could give you a virtual tour. But it would be virtually impossible. I could probably draw it. Any clipboards down here? I think I have all that stuff upstairs. Anyway, so I was running outside into the rain, into the garage, grabbing something I could stand on so I could get on. The paint is peeling off the ceiling. You know, I mean, the floor is just a mess. Like I say, you're getting this filtration of the funk of 40,000 years coming through layers of it from an attic into a second floor, but there's a gap way in between these floors. And so that's just old wood that the water coming through it is like coffee or tea being brewed. So you end up with this brownish. And the stench, the funk of 40,000 years, you know, I mean, it's crazy, you know?
Funky.
No, man, not that kind of funky, you know? It's like, it was insane, you know? It wasn't insane.
This is a nightmare. It must be a nightmare.
You know, I've often talked about, you know, there's some times in your life where you feel like rolling up into a ball and just in a corner and just like giving up and crying. Right? That's like, that would have been it if I was that type of person. A couple of times I just like, so no, I don't have pictures of it, but I'm going to give you a diagram, I think. I'll give you a second floor diagram, how crazy it is. And maybe I'll give you an attic diagram. I'm going to do this now while I talk. Yeah, this is insanity. Let's see. Front bedroom goes here. And then there's like a stairway, a steep stairway that goes downstairs. I forget my architectural, you know, things. But anyway, over here, and there's some kind of window here. I had the window, I was trying to keep that window open, but to no avail. Then there's a bathroom here. I'll be showing this to you in a second. I'm just drawing this. It's the best I could do. There's like a closet here. There's like a weird door here, and then another stairs that go to, so this is attic, to attic, to kitchen. Sorry for this. I lost somebody because I'm doing this. You should have stayed tuned. Anyway, major leak. Wet carpet. Sorry this bored the shit out of somebody. So this is front bedroom. Street. And this is my back bedroom. This is the bath. Say, vanity. Bath. Back bedroom. Leaks. Back bedroom. It's a closet. This is the yard. TV. Bookshelf. Okay. There's nobody watching, so it doesn't really matter. So, looking at the thing inside, see, let me just put this here. This would be that AC unit. Okay. For future viewers. Okay, so if you're looking at the picture on the right where you see an air conditioner, you see the star, that's the AC unit. And so there's this tiny little hallway, that's what you're glimpsing at. That entire place eventually just got completely flooded out. I had to rip up all that carpeting and mop up and stuff. That was insane. The front bedroom, which is pretty big, you could see that's towards street level. All right, try to get in closer here. The carpet was wet about halfway through the room. I had a major leak. Leakus majoris, I guess is one way of describing it. Leakus majoris. Near this window, which I eventually had to close. And I put a dehumidifier in there after having cleaned up ceiling parts that fell. And I know more are going to fall today as that gets drier. The bathroom, for some reason, I was lucky. It didn't leak in there. The back bedroom, I had leaks above my bed. That weird scribbling in the corner in the back bedroom says books, and I have a wall TV there, basically. Well, it used to be a wall TV, but that broke, so now it's just leaning on something. And then out there's another window to the backyard. And through my bedroom, that just scribbling there's a little closet, and then there's a door that goes up to the attic, and you know how stairways are over stairways. So otherwise, in the hallway, those stairs, if you now look at the picture to the right, the actual image, you'll see those plastic things. I put those up. They're just like a thermal barrier for when I have the air conditioner on to force the air into the back bedroom. I keep the front bedroom closed. And then there's stairs beyond that go down to the kitchen. All right. So, front room, pretty much half of it soaking wet, floor, ceiling leaking, water. I just had to go find old shirts and carpets. I must have thrown away about 8 shirts. I wasn't even about to wash them. So I cleared out my, wardrobe. And today I'm running a dehumidifier now in the hallway. And I'm pretty sure once that dehumidifier starts to dry out, hopefully it does dry out part of the ceiling, I'm going to go up there with like some caulk and some paint. And even if it's still damp, using a water-based paint, try to put some paint on there to give it some kind of sealant. I wish I had like roof paint or some kind of, something. Like, I wish that guy who sold that stuff, liquid rubber in a can, wasn't a liar. That stuff doesn't work. I've tried that upstairs, and this is what I ended up with. So anyway, that's my little drawing and sketch. And there's like a picture I took early on when I thought it wasn't going to be bad. That was taken in the morning when it just started raining. And I had one leak. I thought, maybe I'll have to add another thing. But it got out of control. So, I mean, I guess I could photograph this, but do I need to? You can see by the face on me. What's to use? Like I said, for once.
This is a nightmare. It must be a nightmare.
Not must be. It was a nightmare. It literally was a nightmare.
This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. This is
4:36 a.m. in the morning.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I'm drawing pictures of matchstick men. That was the songs. Hey, somebody listened for about 1 minute and 29 seconds. Time for Living. The title of this show is The Beginning of the End, 9/2/21. 9/2/21. All right, here we are. I'm up, drinking me coffee. On this super fantabulous, fantastic set. And I'm wearing like somewhat normal clothes today. It's because it's cool for a change. People think I'm an exhibitionist when I put on the old summer muscle shirts. It's like dropped from like being 90 degrees in this front room to now it's like cold. I could actually have a sweater on if I wanted. Not a big sweater person, though. I like to be able to breathe. So, yeah. Could you imagine? Could you really imagine? And like yesterday was a panic. So you could imagine getting up. See, here's the thing. This is the thing that's hard for people to understand. But I'm sharing this, it's my show. There's only about 4 or 5 of these left. I don't know what the exact count is. Oh, my title card will help us with that. Let's see. How did the title card? There we go. Moon. Let's see if we can get into Moon, moon, river. You, 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 moon, moon, river. Wherever you're going my way. Two drifters off to see the world. Anyway. It's September. Do you remember? Ba-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. September. No, but here's the thing. So I get up. It's 5:39 a.m. I was up at 3 today. Well, yesterday was no different. So imagine like the sheer length of yesterday's day and the sheer horror of it all. So I finished the show, right? And I had mentioned to you, if you listened to the show yesterday, that who knows what's going on upstairs or something to that effect, because it was already raining, while I was doing the show at like 4 a.m., whatever, 5 a.m., And sure enough, after about, I think the show ran about an hour and a half yesterday or so. When I went upstairs, first I went out and fed the birds. It was dark out there still, so I knew it was weird because it was daylight. The sunrise should have happened, but the sunrise didn't happen. So the clouds were so dark that there was no sign of sun. My motion detector lights all came on, which I was glad because I like to test all that stuff out all the time anyway. So I fed the birds in the dark. Put their food out, should I say. I don't know. They were all like huddled up, hiding somewhere. And I came in. I got like partially locked out of my back door. I had to go around the house and do... I mean, it was one of those things, like things were just not going right. And it was pouring down rain. So every time I go outside, then I needed this like step stool in order to do some work on that hallway ceiling area. So I could see where it says the star is A/C, that whole area that I showed you before, And so I had to go out in the pouring rain because I keep those kinds of tools and things in the garage. So I had to like haul that back. So it was like the second time out in the rain. It was really literally pouring like crazy. So I had to change. That's the second time I changed the shirt. So I'm go upstairs and it's just all hell's breaking loose. I mean, it was just a nightmare, And like I say, it was.
This is a nightmare.
It could just be, I could just have that thing looping. This is a nightmare. I mean, that's how crazy it was. So, yeah, it was nutty. It was really nutty. So I don't know what to do about that. Anyway, so I am going to, let's see, what's a long song? I got to go take care of a couple of businesses. I'll be right back. But it might take me about 2 minutes. So I'm going to leave you with a song. And I'm wondering which one I should leave you with. Virtual Cage. I guess I'll leave you with Virtual Cage. I'll be right back in a short couple. Look at the calendar. Oops.
dropped my overpriced smartphone, and it shattered. Surprisingly, my first thought was that I was free. Free from the virtual cage that tethers us but tears us apart. Free from the notifications, replies, and requests. Free from the need to respond. Free from the falsities and deceptions by those with warped agendas. I was no longer a slave to tech or to any person, place, or thing. Canceled my cellular service and got a voice over IP phone. I broke the chains that bind us to a ringtone. I went for a walk and noticed the world all around me. Sat in the sun and felt what it was like to be human again. Yeah. Free from the virtual cage. Free to enjoy natural life. Free from interruptions. No longer enslaved. The way it used to be.
Upstairs was a mess. Let's see what we got. Well, that ended. I was gone longer than I thought. I didn't think I would be gone that long, though.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So anyway, back to this thing. I almost had the perfect setup on this chair before, where I wasn't thinking. That's when you know you've got the right chair set up. When you don't think about your chair, when you're thinking about a thing, then obviously the thing is not right. Coffee's still warm, no critters floating in it. So yeah, don't forget to watch the last 5. It looks like almost an S there. It's the last 5, the morning show with Tony Caravan. Happy September. And we have the Oktoberfest girl up Oktoberfest begins on the 18th. So it's only less than 16 days away. I hope to be drinking. I hope to be drinking for Oktoberfest. That's another reason to stop doing these shows. And I hope to be putting my face in between and doing the with that nice young lady from Deutschland. I know. Doesn't sound right to some people, but, you know, who cares what you think? I don't care. You never seem to care over the past 250, 500 some shows. Never seen them bother you before or interest you or whatever you. Yeah. So, you get up at 3 or 4 in the morning. And then you got to deal with of the longest day. See, that's the thing, the average person. You know, somebody gets up, they go to work, they do it, they commute, they work 8 hours, they may have a rough time, and then they have to commute back or something. You know, I'm talking about commuter type. Some people working out of their house, they got it easy. Yeah, and then they sit around, watch the nightly news, and then they watch some TV sitcom. Right, go to bed, screw their wife or whatever. Yeah, great life. Congratulations, buddy. But, you know, imagine getting up at 3 in the morning, okay? You're half awake. It's pouring down rain, and you already know, and the forecast is it's going to rain nonstop. It never stopped. It was like a heavy rain, and it was nonstop. There were like flash floods and stuff in the area, but where I live, I'm on the outskirts of town. And like I say, I'm on a slight slope. Not much of a slope, but it's enough of a slope that stuff's passing by me. It's not really pooling here. Okay. So you do the show. Show's over. Feed the birds. And it's sunrise now. You know, people haven't even woken up yet. It's just sunrise. You already are confronted with about 5 major areas that are leaking like crazy. You go up in the attic, and the water that's leaking in that hallway area that I showed you that picture of before, I don't know where that was coming from. It's coming from behind a wall that was built there because I guess a previous owner, 70 years ago or 100 years ago, decided to put kind of a semi-false wall because I've demonstrated this before. Normally an attic walls are tilted like this. So if you want to make it into a straight room, you have to put, it's actually inward, but you straighten it out. Take some square footage out of the room, but it's a big room, so it didn't matter. It's the whole length of the house. And so the leaks behind this like false wall, so to speak, that's made out of this tongue and groove wood that's like 100 years old. It's like brittle, and the boards are like 16 feet long. I didn't think they made boards that long or something. Maybe longer. Maybe 20 feet. They're ridiculous. There's no way of getting them off without them like shattering, like they won't come. So I'm going to have to today's supposed to be a sunny day, supposedly, hopefully. And it'll be cooler too, so I guess it won't be that bad working up there. But I'm going to have to go up in the attic and rip open the wall where this hallway leak occurred. And I have to use a sawzall, but there's like power. There was like this light there, and I'm looking upstairs, and I'm going, where's that power even coming from? So it must be fed by some old knob and tube wiring that the electrician I hired to do this house didn't see. right? Or bother, right? So I hope I don't hit a wire. I got to open up that wall. And this isn't drywall. This is all slatted wood. We don't need to see the September thing here. Is this the image of the day? No, that's the image of the day. Is this the image? That's the title card. What is this? We saw the climate. You get that. See, it looks like it's supposed to be dry in better part of the U.S., so we're fine with that. What the heck? It's not, if it's not image of the day, and it's not, oh, it is the title card. The title card is the calendar. Yeah, that's a weird title card. That was kind of cool. I do these innovative things every now and then. My back. Me back. Anyway. So, I don't know what order I'm going to do what in. I have to paint. I'm going to paint. Because my idea with that is I'm using the dehumidifier right now. I had it on all night long in the front room. I wish I had some of that spray goop. It's called great stuff or goofy stuff or something that foams up. Because I'd like to fill in that whole, like some of these areas where the ceiling's probably going to want to fall down. You know. And I wish they made, this is my wish list. I wish they made stuff like that would be like some kind of water absorbent water thing, but they don't. They may have all kinds of weird stuff at a hardware store, but I don't have a car and I can't get there and I'm flat broke. I'm flat broke until, where's the title card? Today's Thursday, the 2nd of September, 2021. And I'm broke till the 8th of September. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know how I counted that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How could it be 8 days from the 2nd? It can't be. 6 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, I'm broke for about a week. And that money's already, earmarked for bills. Labor Day weekend coming up this weekend. Not that matters to me. You see, this is another reason why I like to have traditional calendars. Like I say, this particular calendar was made as a wall calendar by me, for me. I have one over there on the wall and one in my kitchen. And I have one in my bedroom, which apparently has stayed dry. One of the few dry spots, knock on wood, so far. So, yeah, I'd love to go shopping at one of those box hardware stores, the Lowe's or Home Depot today, and see what kind of magical stuff has been made because I didn't invent leaks. Of course, whatever it is probably sold out because so many people are looking for it. So it's like kind of an exercise in futility. So forget that. So all I have that exists is a couple tubes of Dollar Tree caulk laying around and a can of latex white paint. Yeah, what a life. And the ceiling is damp. So my theory is to seal in. I mean, I always, these are just theories. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But you get a latex paint. If you've ever worked with latex, It's a water-based paint. And you can if you're like, this is just a little tip. I mean, unless you got some really cheap paint. But, if say you're like, all you need is like an eighth of a can. Like say you're finishing a room off and it's like, if you only had this much more paint, and you could see you're here, but you're going to need a little bit more than you have in that can. Well, just add some water to it, and start really, really, really well. And scrape along the sides of it and stuff, to get all that stuff that's there. And, and you'll be able to finish that room off because it's latex. It's water. There's a water base in there. It's alkaline. You could put some, I think I'd already done rubbing alcohol, like just alcohol, some rubbing alcohol in there too. Because it's like an alcohol, little bit of that too or something. I think that works. I forget. You can check that out. Don't copy me on that. But like a little bit of water and a little bit of alcohol, and you could you might be able to get an extra eighth of a can out of a can if that's it, as opposed to having to go buy another $40 can or whatever the hell they're charging these days. Paints get so expensive. Anyway, I have paint. Because a hardware store, a family-owned hardware store near me was selling, clearing out their inventory, old inventory or something like that. But they had these cans of paint that were still good, and they put them on that shaker thing and stuff. And I've already used it, and it's good, and it's held up. I painted earlier in the summer some stuff. So my idea is that since this stuff is kind of water-based, water alkaline based, I'll read the ingredients again on that. Double check that myself too. Even though some of these areas in the ceiling are damp, because they have stuff like Kilz. It's called KILZ. And, there's all kinds of things that, chemistry that's been created to solve problems for people. But like I say, when you're broke, you have, necessity is the Frank Zappa of invention. So my theory, hypothesis, whatever you want to call it. It's really none of those things. My hope, aspiration, dream of a better tomorrow is that I'm going to try to paint on to some of these areas, and hopefully it doesn't peel stuff off or whatever. And I'm hoping if I put a fine thin coat of paint on some of these areas as they've been, like I say, I have the dehumidifier on right now, and I'm hoping it's drying the surface at least of some of these ceiling tiles type of things that I have. It's weird up there. I don't know. It could be asbestos for all I know. Though the stuff in the hallway was pure plaster. But the plaster seems to have held. Now, whether or not that's going to maintain, there were no cracks in it like there were in that front room. See, in the front bedroom, let me just put this here again. In the front bedroom where it says major leak, or like I said, leakus majora, I've had plaster fell down yesterday, and that's heavy. If that stuff hits you on the head, it could knock you out. I mean, that's how thick those plaster ceilings are. But there's more plaster to come down, so I'm going to have to put some kind of thing, get some bucket or something, and try to pull out those loose pieces. I have this big bucket of mud, they call it, spackle stuff. But I really don't want to use that because it's almost like I really should try to make a mix of mortar or something. You know, like a cement, you know, really, because what that is, plaster, something that would hold up to getting wet. Whereas, you know, mud, you know, isn't going to do it. Spackle isn't going to do it. Though I have this like 5-gallon container of it. I don't know why. I thought it was a gallon container. It was a couple of years ago. Maybe the whole thing's dried out. And they sent me this 5-gallon like thing of it. I only wanted I didn't even really want a gallon, but it was cheap. So it was a mistake. But where you see where I have that major leak, I've got to pull a piece. There's some plaster fell down yesterday, and that carpet all there is wet. But I have a window in that room and 2 windows, and it's south facing. This is because this is street facing. And it's supposed to be sunny today. So I'm hoping the sun's going to beat down on that rug and dry it out so I won't have a mold issue or something underneath it. I can't guarantee that. And then eventually you can buy this spray stuff that's like an anti-mold mildew type of spray. And I guess eventually I could spray that on the carpet on another sunny day type of thing and kills mold. Because I'm not going to rip up the entire carpet in that front bedroom. Look how huge it is compared to the house. So that has to be repaired. This is second floor. I've got to paint the leaks over there in the back bedroom. Those are the ones I'm talking about painting. My arm's getting sore holding that thing up. And I'm hoping that the paint will like absorb into the ceiling tiles, kind of. To just, you know, preserve them. I just want to preserve them so they don't start like getting brittle and falling apart or something. I have to get this roof repaired somehow, but I don't know how. They want like 12 to 20 grand or something. It's insane. My house didn't cost that much. So, I don't know. I put in an insurance claim. It's like, or something like that. I don't know if they would cover it because they'd say, well, this, they send like these inspectors out, and these inspector type guys look at stuff and say, well, this looks like this was like this before. So it's not really it doesn't look like it was something that happened because of a storm or something. You know. And then even if they did decide to give you coverage, they would like double your insurance or triple it or who knows what. So then I'd be back in like, living in debt again. So anyway, I have a front room patching job to do somehow. I really need tarps, which I don't have. Because when I'm working on the ceiling with both painting and some of this plaster falling down, I've got to accept the fact that stuff's going to fall and there's going to be some messes made. But I don't even have any tarps left. I don't even have any old sheets. I'm down to like my last sheet. And all my shirts yesterday. I mean, this stuff was just so a mess, and like the plastic came on it and ceiling paint was peeled off. And like I say, it was the funk of 40,000 years. I don't even want to put it in the washer type of thing. So my plan today is like some kind of whirlwind thing. And that is to let this dehumidifier dehumidify for as long as possible. That's why it's on right now. And I noticed that the cat is actually down here because I think the dehumidifier is on up there and he doesn't want to go hang out with that. It's making too much noise. Though he's not afraid of it because we had that when we were younger. In our last building, we had some problems. So he knows what a dehumidifier is. So at least he's not afraid of that. Yeah, so that's my day. You know, it's like a whirlwind of spackling, maybe mixing some leftover mortar, patching, painting, cleaning, ripping open a wall. That's going to be the biggest job. That's like a several hours. That'll be this afternoon. Luckily, it's only going to be 70 degrees, and I have a window up there and a window fan or a box fan I could put in the window to draw out, like, you know, the dust and debris. And then once I do that, then I have to have something to put down to prevent when the next thunderstorm comes in, which is, let's see here, rain, 60% chance of rain this Sunday, which is a lot. Anything over, when it gets over 40 to 50%, if it's 60%, it's probably going to be raining. And now that those like areas have opened up, see, that's the thing. Once you have that problem, then it's like, you know, it's found its way through. So I have to do that. I mean, it may be a multi-day problem. I like to, you know, sometimes I like to try to accomplish as much as I can in one day. But I'm going to, at the very least, try to open that up and see what's going on there. And I hope I don't, like, electrocute myself or cause some kind of thing. I mean, I just don't understand how that's powered. Not, you know, because it's the attic, it's the roof. I just don't know where the water's coming from. See, that's the thing. You know, it's just because it seems like that side of the building is roof, is almost connected right to the roof, like it's the natural attic thing. So the water may well have just been coming right in and then rolling right down. But if that were the case, then it should have, where's that image of that other image? Photography. You see, if that were the case, the wall, the air conditioner, it should have been like flowing down that wall, and it really wasn't. I mean, there was some moisture there, but there wasn't like, that wasn't the main thing. You see, it was mainly coming from the light. So I don't know, man. I got to open up a frickin' wall. It's an hour into the show.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Why are you telling us this?
Well, it's my show. It's my party, and I could cry if I want to. Besides, nobody's watching. You know, these are stories about people. This is under the category people and blogs. Which I created I invented the word vlog personally too. It's another thing I don't think I got credit for. I've been doing this for so long. 25 years. Everything you know is wrong. Game over. You don't know what you don't know. Tony Caravan Live, worldwide webcast. So anyway, yeah, so amidst all of that, towards the end of the day, once I had like got things had the dehumidifier on, had gotten a couple trash bags and just pulled up all those rugs and all those shirts and everything I'd thrown down and put those in bags. I have one out in the back stairs and one in the back porch. Once I did all that crap, washed myself and relaxed and just was flipping around some YouTube stuff. I was trying to watch this Roswell remake because I used to like the Roswell show. Was that on in the 90s or something? I don't know when that was on. You know, that Katherine Hagel girl was in it. You know, but I mean, then it was the dark-haired girl. She was the real star. I forget who the guys were. I think they've each done a movie or two, but Hagel was the only one that like broke away, and then she was a sensation, did about 5 or 6 movies, and then she just faded into the background. Now I guess she's an older actress, and they don't hire older women unless they're like Dame something or other. But the new one just it just wasn't as good. And of course they were throwing all this weird stuff in, like not weird, but I don't know, social justice stuff. Not social justice, but it's just like extra things added to the storyline that don't advance the story. Gratuitous, contemporary, things. Put it that way, if you follow my drift. Right? Gratuitous, contemporary, lifestyle things. And you're like, whatever. Let's stick to the story. But I don't know. It's like, innocence is gone. That first show was like kind of innocent, And I know those, I don't know. The world's changed. Who said it? Somebody said it. Somebody I was watching yesterday. I mean, maybe it was that Australian girl. What's her name? She's got the big hair and skinny arms. What a way to describe somebody, right? But she was talking about, I think it was probably her. And she's fairly honest about it. She's kind of funny and interesting. But she was very honest about she's younger, so she was even honest about the idea that she puts herself in perspective and doesn't try to pretend she knows more than she knows, but she opens herself up to, other people looking at it, and adding to the conversation, I think, in some ways. But the gist of what I'm trying to get at is that she was talking about how, which I've been talking about all along, but how it's changed, how things have changed. And it's just a whole new world, It's just a whole new world and a whole new way of living. And then, and that was her thing. And she was just going on and she gives examples and she's semi-humorous and this, that, the other. But okay, so end that, move on to me now. Yeah, it's like, it's this recurring theme that I always have on this show. Took me an hour to get to this point, talking about my house for now. But, things are never going to go back to the way they were. And it's hard for people to accept that, Like, I accept it. I mean, you don't have to like a thing. You don't even have to agree with a thing. But you have to sometimes just accept a thing. You don't even have to change your life, right? Or your lifestyle or whatever. But you still have to accept the reality, of the world around you, right? I mean, and otherwise, you're just insane. That's like, that's, when they used to put people in the old mental homes, that was it. They just wouldn't accept their world. They lived in their own world, as people would say. Like a child. And that's right. And on top of all this, I needed to go down to the store, which is like a 45-minute and that's in an ideal situation. It's a 45-minute round trip. Like, I got 45 minutes to waste, and I can't do it after this show. The store doesn't open till 7, but I have to drop off like a prescription, and they don't open till 9. So that means I can't do anything, get dirty and all that kind of stuff, get my work clothes and all that stuff. So I can't do that today. I can't leave the house today. It's impossible. I won't be able to make a break. Not at 5:20, not since it's 5:21 a.m. And this show's probably only going to last another 20 some minutes, 23 minutes or so. I think we'll just keep it to about an hour and a half, these shows. Unless it runs on. But it shouldn't. So yeah, you have to accept your life. Now, I mean, life is what happens to you along the way. Like me, like I'm shot down with this, this disaster that I have to try to clean up and spend the entire day or days. It might be the whole week. My deadline, what did I say my deadline is? I have to look here. Sunday. Rain. So hopefully the rain holds off till Sunday. Right? I mean, I can only hope. Where's my title card? So today's Thursday the 2nd. So I've got today, tomorrow, and Saturday. I got 3 days basically to get into some kind of situation where I can deal. Sorry about the microphone noise. I'm trying to lean back a little without. And you can still hear me. See, most people's faces are usually back further. I got my face in the camera. So, yeah, so you have these setbacks. I mean, those people who got flooded out down in the Gulf, they've got really big setbacks. People lose their houses and stuff like that in storms. Hurricanes, tornadoes, winter storms, whatever, or forest fires, all these natural things, cyclical occurrences, as I said. Can't stress that enough. This stuff just happens, man. It's nothing to do with climate change. I mean, yeah, it's climate change, I guess, is one way of looking at it. It's earth changes. That's why I have ROCKFLUX as my logo. This earth, this planet's always in a state of flux, and we're certainly, in that state right now. But it's not because of anything, whatever. And I hope I've made the point enough over these some 240 odd shows that, that really just explains it in such perfect detail. And that show after show I've added additional things to, that if you question something I may have said earlier on 100 shows ago, by the time you got into the 200s, more and more evidentiary, information was brought to light. But be that as it may, it's not the planet that I'm concerned about, It's just that life has changed. And it goes beyond this fear, and world events and news and all that kind of stuff. It's just a really bizarre, chapter in human existence that we're in the middle of. And you just have to make your way through it, right? I even had to throw away a pair of shoes yesterday, by the way. So that's it going forward, and that's kind of why, I'm ending this chapter, of these shows this coming week, within the next week. And then moving on to this book, which I hope will be more of like I say, while it's going to be kind of a free flow of it will be a free flow of consciousness, 100%. But it will ebb and flow in and out of all of these issues that we've been talking about over the past couple of years, most particularly the past, I would say, 9 or 10 months, maybe the past year, kind of, but somewhere between 9 to 12 months. It'll be this year's book, put it that way. And it's the idea of where do we go from here? How do you get through this? How do you wrap your head around it? That might be a better way of looking at this. How do you wrap your head around it? To deal with adversity, to deal with hardship, to deal with the insanity of people out there, the mass insanity that's clearly, obvious. The downright, for lack of a better word, evil, like these evil people. I mean, they really are just, so you have to navigate yourself through this, because this is the new, paradigm or whatever. This is it. And so if you want to maintain your sanity or maintain your lifestyle, I guess is more important. Your sanity, you should be able to maintain your sanity. But to maintain your lifestyle as closely as possible, you have to be aware of all these things, and you cannot be living in the past. I mean, it truly is a tragedy that family people who have kids, people are going to be brought up in this society that's so different from what it was like when we grew up. Like I mentioned the word innocence before. And I don't know. It's just, when kids could just be kids, and even just being a teenager was just fun, and you had so many freedom, you were free to do things, you could go out and hang out and, it was safer and all that stuff, It's just weird. I mean, they were always dangerous. They're always weirdos. They're always freaks and stuff like that. But it has to do with the number percentage-wise. And it's just not the same. That's what's changed. The percentage of innocence, honesty, safety, sanity, all of those things, the percentage of the negative things has increased, and the percentage of the positive and innocent and good, fun things has decreased. And so it's no longer, it's a different world. For us, but for everybody, it's just different. And, I've traveled around the world. Like there's some weird stuff going on in Australia right now. I've been over there 3 times. And the views and the images I'm getting from everywhere, from watching Australians do vlogs like this, seeing videos of unbelievable totalitarian, authoritarian, whatever you want to call it, this police state, beating woman, taking her child for her being in a park or something. Their lockdowns, and everything that's going on there. It's so totally different from the times I spent over there, where it was just this like fun-loving, free, open country of like some of the most friendliest people, on the planet. And to see that, and then I've watched I don't have TV, but I do get I noticed yesterday because I needed a break. So I came down all the way downstairs here to this front room, which I rarely spend time outside of doing these broadcasts because it's a small front room, studio room, but I have this futon off to the side. So I laid down in the futon and I have this old Apple TV. It's like the hockey puck version of the Apple TV. And it still works, And I put it on yesterday and I noticed that I was like, there's nothing on it. Like, where's YouTube? And YouTube, they took YouTube off it, or that old version. Doesn't even have YouTube on it. I thought I'd just lay down, just kick back for a second, breathe for an hour, rest, on this futon, and take a break and put something on YouTube on and just chill. They didn't have YouTube, but they had Sky TV. And so I just figured, okay, well, I'll just put Sky TV on. And if you don't know what Sky TV is, it's their alternative to the BBC. And Sky TV it's a Murdoch thing. But it's fairly, it's fairly straightforward. I wouldn't compare. Don't get the idea. It's not like Fox or something like that. It's they don't hold back. They're not afraid to say whatever they don't feel like saying. But they're not like partisan, the way American TV is, split. Yeah. And they were covering the some hearings with the foreign secretary in the UK, questions on Afghanistan or something like that. I think they had there was a news break about some stuff going on in Australia, but it was the UK's. It was Sky News UK, not Sky News Australia. They have, different. It's a network, I guess, or wherever they set it up. I don't know. I don't watch it often. I'm aware of it. I've seen it in my travels, and I saw it, and I said, "Oh, put Sky News on. It'll be some mindless thing since I didn't even know I had it on that TV or that Apple TV." And I just need to get off my feet because I was upstairs just dealing with all this crazy crap. The flooding, leaking. And the stuff they were talking about, to watch a foreign, it's English language, which is good. So I was able to, I used to watch like DW, German. I used to watch France news. I used to watch like international newscasts to get a perspective when I was into the news. Like I was never an ABC, NBC, CBS person to begin with, never. Or Fox, that wasn't my thing. PBS, no. I just, a PBS NewsHour, I used to watch that when I was like a commuter on a train reading the Wall Street Journal years ago. When I was a businessman in a suit, going to work in a suit. Like starting out. Those days are long gone. I pissed off Jim Lear from the thing one time. I sent him an email. Back in the days when nobody was using email. See, there was a time when only, most people didn't even know what email was. But people in certain industries had email addresses. Like, media, people and certain tech people and stuff like that. They were the only people that had email addresses and stuff. And even websites. Nobody had a website. There were no websites. There were no apps. There was none of that stuff. There was no iPhone or iPod yet or anything like that. But in the early days. And I once accused Lear of, some broadcast. And he was like totally pissed off at me. Like on the air, basically. He didn't use my name, but I know it was, he was basically answering my criticism of him. Like, with this face, it's like he was totally pissed. But I used to watch that years ago. This is 30 some years ago. But mostly I would watch international news to try to get a perspective. And France, Germany, UK, Australia, they have English speaking newscasts. And BBC World used to be okay, but, and sometimes it's not bad, but, BBC's become very partisan type now, it's like everything else. Things have changed. Not, media wasn't always as bad as it is today. There used to be a lot of good, solid reporters in the media. But anyway, so I was watching, I guess, Sky News, basically closing my eyes. I think I might have even dozed off. Like I say, it's a long day when you get up at 3 a.m. and you're working, by 3 in the afternoon, you're on your feet for 12 hours. Now think about that, 12 hours. And that's 3. So by 5, it's 15 hours. Yeah. I don't know what time I went to bed last night, if it was 7 or 8. But, it's like, you're up for 18 hours, it's like, it's just too long. 16 hours is your max, you should get 8 hours of sleep. Let alone working nonstop in a panic, under conditions of odors of the funk of 40,000 years, dampness, wetness, trying to clean up stuff, getting the house clean enough so that you can sleep in an environment. Because I had to sleep with the windows closed last night because it was dropped down to 54 degrees. So I couldn't keep the window open to have fresh air, you know. So I had to get the house and get things, you know, I was in this this entire day of just preparing so that, you know, and today's going to be like that. Because today, now all I did yesterday was clean up the mess from yesterday. Now today I'm going to make a mess. Because I know as I dry out certain parts of the ceiling, these big chunks of plaster that are the weight of bricks. When they built these old houses, man, you know, they used to plaster between these like wooden slats. But on a ceiling, you know, that plaster was like this thick yesterday. It came down like a rock. If that would have hit me, you know, I would have gashed my arm. You know, or if it would have hit me in the head or the eye. I mean, and I could see where more of it just wants to fall down if it hasn't fallen down while I'm down here now. Or it will during the day, you know, if indeed this sun comes out today as it's supposed to. I just hope it does. So I got to clean up that mess. Hope the front room rug dries out so I don't have a mold situation in there. And hope that my bedroom ceiling dries out enough that I could paint over these damp spots that will kind of somehow give a little bit of a sealant to them to keep them like somewhat sturdy so they don't like become brittle and want to fall apart. I don't know if that's going to work. I can't promise that. But if I can get, that's my, like I say, it's not really a theory, but it's a thought that maybe that could strengthen the outer coatings of it and this could soak in a little bit. And then I could maybe go over it with a putty knife, so to speak, with some waterproof caulking and kind of just seal the crack so that will hold, and then go upstairs and try to figure out where that new water was coming in through. Very weird. So that's one room painting. Then I got to go in the other room and try to do maybe some mortar work, plaster with mortar. Like I say, I wish I had that spray can of that great stuff or whatever the hell it's called. You know, I wonder if they even make that. I hate to waste this show. You know, let's see something here out of curiosity. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff, Pond and Stone. What the heck's that? Great Stuff Pond and Stone, sealer and adhesive, black. Filler, sealer, and adhesive. You know, the thing is so big that I can't read it. Let's see. Use as a filler, sealer, or adhesive to direct water over waterfall aesthetics and bond stone without mortar. Water resistant, moisture cured, single component for damp or dry applications. Black color to hide. 12-ounce can, cures in 8 hours. 1 can, 10 caulk cubes. Moisture cured, single component. Damp or dry application will not shrink. So it's called Great Stuff Pond and Stone Filler. Let's copy that. And let's go to, out of curiosity, Amazon. Just all departments. Let's see if they carry it. Great Stuff insulating foam. They've got a pest block, big gap filler, crack filler, multi-purpose foam sealant. Now, it's an education for you too. Pest block, foam sealant, fire block, insulation, dispenser, big gap filler. They don't seem to carry it there, let alone Prime, you know. Monday, September 6th. I doubt if they deliver it on Memorial Day. I can't wait that long. It's going to rain Sunday. I need one of these like tomorrow. See, this is the thing. Let me just click this out. Yeah, I'm just wasting time now, but see, it's one of the things, you know, if only I could get to a store today to do this. Because there's like, actually, now that I think of it, there's like 2 to 3 areas in my attic that I have to open up the wall for. And it would be great if I could just spray in some kind of thing to fill in these gaps and then just put some kind of bowl, you know, water gatherer tray, Dollar Tree tray over top of it. Because I don't mind having to go up to the attic and dumping out trays. I did it yesterday about 3 or 4 times. In fact, it got to the point that usually they were getting filled with, like I say, this like tea looking water coming through the old wood. But by the end of the day, as so much rain was coming through, it was clear water in the trays. Clear water. There was none of that tea color. It had basically just, you know. Anyway, I'm just talking. That's what I do, you know. I watch these things. It's me talking out ideas for myself. You know, and I think there's some value to other people. You know, all my shows weren't like this. If this is the first time you've seen a Tony Caravan live, it's not like this. It's usually, you know, I've covered everything from issues to events to educational things to, you know, historical, you know, catastrophe theories, the Earth's magnetic field, astrophysics, AI, you name it. I mean, name any topic. I've covered it. This is like show 254, I think, or something like that, of this year alone. This is day 254, I think, or 244. I'm going to stop at 250 for this year because I have to shift gears into a book. I want to write this book because I have 9 books for sale now on Amazon, and I want to have 10. I got some weird thing from Apple that I don't know if it's a scam or something, but it's like they want my address or something. And I'm going to have to like log into Apple and see what the hell that's about, which it's like, you know, does anybody else have this problem where it's like, I'm just tired of passwords? You know, when you've been on the internet as long as I have, literally 30 years or something. Do you know how many passwords you have? I mean, I literally back here somewhere, behind my book Codex there, by the way. It's my last book, which you really should get before my new book comes out in December. Should be out by December. But, this will be my 10th book. So it's like, it'll be a collection of 10 books. But Apple has this thing, in other words, for it to be in the iBookstore, they were like asking me for my, more information or something like that. I'm going like, come on, I got got all these books. I have 9 books on your store. What's the change now? What do you need this information for? So I don't know if it's a scam. I'm going to have to figure that out. But my books are also on Kindle. And I know, not that any of you are going to buy them. Nobody's bought a single thing. I have so much stuff. Between all of, between this thing back here, this jackery that could have saved all those people, given electricity to those million people without power down at the Gulf, to my books, to my music, to my 50 beat poetry songs, which one I played for you while I took a break before. To all of these, to some 500 shows, to all the, I mean, you name it. I published so many magazines and stuff. It's ridiculous over the years. Issues, things I've done, innovations. It's craziness. But it's like, people think, oh, well, I'll get a Kindle or an Apple book. But it's like, I'm selling them on Amazon, and they cost like maybe $12.95. I have some of them. I think I might be selling lowered the price to like $9.95 even. They're shorter reads. It's but if you're gonna get a book, get a book, because then you have the book and you can put it on a bookshelf. You could pick it up and whatever. Power goes out, you got something to read. Or you could circle things. You could, use a bookmark. I might do some experimental things with this like I did with one of my other books. I actually made one book, which I have here somewhere. Like these are some of my books. These are not all of them. Let's see if I got a kerchief on here. I don't know why it's coming along with it. Handkerchief. Why that decided to come along with it. But I've got these CDs. I mean, these are the last couple shows, so we might as well this is out of print now, apparently. The Essential Beat Poetry of Tony Caravan. You can get all the songs that are on it. You could buy them wherever music is sold. But it's one of my books. The Truth About Everything. My first book, The Iconic Image. This was my latest book. All right. Which, while it seems like it might be a book, it's really basically all of my beat poetry tracks. Though in the beginning, I do have some little bit of information. I've got this weird handbook thing. This is a pretty good one. My Life is a Surrealistic Nightmare. This is a fairly thick book. Book 6. The Nonconformist. That was a photo I took, actually. It's from my days when I lived in Washington. I actually don't have the book I was looking for. There was one book I did I don't know where it is. It's upstairs in my upstairs library, luckily, which did not get wet or rained on, but I have to be cautious in thinking about that. That's another reason I deal with this roof, because who knows what spot's going to open up next. But I once made a book that had interspersed between it was a calendar for the year, like a date planner. Isn't that weird? Put a lot of work into that. You know, it had everything, that was happening. And it was for like stuff about growing, seasons and planning stuff and tips on this. But I mean, it was also some far out ideas and a couple of essay type of things and information. It was just experimenting with a book. So I might have a small section of that in the back of this one, so that the book can actually be used. Because what I'm doing now is, like, in preparation for this book, I have this tiny little notebook, right? Book ideas, right? But what I mean is, imagine, full size version of that, right? Maybe towards the back. So it's free flow of consciousness, but maybe an area where you can make notes, or maybe even note sections after chapters, or things that aren't chapters but are almost like chapters, or after thoughts. Just take the book into a different way. It's something that you can't do digitally. I was watching something. This is running longer than I thought, but it's okay, because there's a couple of other things I was watching. I was watching a guy who was dealing with like GPT-3 AI, and he was explaining his videos because he was talking with an avatar. And the impression in some of his earlier videos was that he was actually doing this, but in reality, he was using an avatar. He was pre-recording himself asking the questions, and then recording, and then had this foot switch type of thing to have the avatar answer the question. So there was a little bit of theatrics to it. But he was explaining that probably there have been some incremental increases in GPT-3, which, if you don't know AI, I mean, you should, because it's where we're heading in the future. It's not, don't think in terms of Elon Musk, because I watched yesterday's show where I rag on Elon Musk a lot, because I don't think he grasps. He's in touch with the average person and reality of where the world's really going. But be that as it may, this guy was GPT-3, the distance between, the changes made between GPT-3 and GPT-4, this version of AI, and there's this company OpenAI, and there's other people working on this stuff like Replica and other people, that they are making incremental increases in AI. The current state of AI is that it's basically you kind of text to it. You text, talk, communicate. And it has ability with language, to respond. And it has a library of information, like things like Wikipedia, things on the internet. It has a knowledge base, in it. But it doesn't really have memory. Like, its combined memory is something like a couple of typewritten pages. They'd be the equivalent of a couple of typewritten pages. A lot of people don't know this. And so the idea is somehow to deal with expanded memory and a better, and faster response. And so that maybe perhaps you can talk to this thing without having it at a faster pace. There are ways where you can have, text to speech, that kind of thing, so that the AI, you can technically talk, then your voice is converted into text. That text is then read by the AI, and then the AI's response, which is in text form, is then converted to speech. And that's how you would, under the current system, GPT-3, talk, with an AI, entity, so to speak. And that's cumbersome. And it's the delay, it's clearly not conversational, because there's just, too many processes. And then on top of that, AI, the current GPT-3 limitations of memory are such that you're not, again, that it, when you can't pick up the conversation tomorrow. And I've experimented with all this stuff, and I've talked about some of it in there, and I've learned a lot more since I wrote this book. And I'll be exploring, in my new book, hopefully I will touch on at some point in it, the current state of the art, and to see what's happening this fall. Because I'm sure there have been some breakthroughs. I've been watching a lot of people who are on the cutting edge of this. And there's various groups working on this. There's the Google people, of course. There's OpenAI. There's Replica with a K, that company that's trying to just make kind of like personal, for people to talk to a thing. It's more of a commercial venture. And then there's some other, tech companies working on these kinds of things, to utilize it in different applications. And of course, even Elon Musk, Tesla, has announced his robots, and he's doing his interface idea, to have this, interface humans, because he's got this fear of AI taking over the world and creating gray goo or something, whatever. He's not realistic. He's not being realistic. But so, that's just some interesting stuff. And, so there are areas that you can challenge your mind if you're a thinker. If you go beyond, just the superficial, living life as a superficial thing. There's some very challenging areas that can, that you could put your mind in, when you break away from news and all this stuff. Because look, the world is insane. It's run by insane people for insane reasons, like Lenin said. All right? And he said that like 50 years ago. And it's like 50 times, so times that by 50 almost. I mean, that's how crazy insane things are right now. So you got to just live your life. And so if you just want to be a gardener, be a gardener. If you just want to get married, get married. If you just want to date people, date people. If you want to play with things, if you're in arts and crafts, be in arts and crafts. If you want to be a serious fine art, painter, a professor, a sculptor, a carpenter, a plumber, whatever, do it. The point is, whatever it is, focus on that, not on this media and politics, and think that, the world's gone to hell in a handbag. That's already happened, you know what I mean? It's like this guy used to say, you're up the legendary tributary with no means of transportation. In other words, you're up shit creek without a paddle, okay? To be blunt. But that's only if you want to be. You don't have to be. You could still live your life. And you're going to be shot down. Look at me. I'm not looking forward to today at all. But I'm going to, bite the bullet and do it. I got to prepare this house for the next rain. I live here. It's my house. I can't afford a $12,000 to $20,000 roof. So I'm going to have to do some patching and stuff to prolong this a little bit longer until I could come up with some kind of other solution. You know, I don't know what it will be, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe something totally, you know, bizarre. Yeah. But I'll figure something out, you know, to survive at least in the short term. Right now, the short term is only a couple of days. Beyond that, the short term is getting through the winter. And then beyond that is getting through next summer. You know, and hopefully maybe within the next year, I'll have a better solution, or maybe I could find somebody who could get up 4 stories. See, the problem is my house is this, it's only like 19 feet wide, but it goes up almost like 4 stories. I can't find anybody who's even got a ladder that big, like handyman type, where I could get somebody and say, look here, I'll give you $300, $500 or something. Go up there with some tar and some tiles and just patch some holes, slap down some tar, you know, buy me a couple of years, you know, of dryness, you know, and then maybe in a couple more years, I'll figure something else out. But I can't, but it's like the way this Dutch colonial home was built, it's like weird. You can't imagine. It's just bizarre. So it never dawned on me that the roof was like something you could not reach. You know, you could get these contractors, but they went like 12. The word was it was like 12 grand, like, I don't know, 5 years ago. So I know we're in hyperinflation land. It's probably 20 grand. I can't afford 20 grand. My house did not cost 20 grand. I can't afford it. Can't do it. Won't do it. Well, not won't do it. Can't do it. All right, man. Well,
Good morning.
I ended up running longer than I thought. As always, you want to help me with my roof? Buy 1,000 books and give them out to people. Buy 1,000 shirts and hand them out on the street corner. Go to Great Solar Stuff. You got Bitcoin? You know, go to my TonyCaravanLive.locals.com. I think you could donate in Bitcoin there. I don't know how you do it exactly, but maybe you could figure it out. Anyway, take care. I'll let you know how much I get accomplished. I'll try to take pictures today. I can't promise it. It depends on how it goes. Sometimes it's just so insane that it's like the last thing on your mind, and your hands are so filthy, is like trying to go down to the first floor, grab your smartphone and snap a picture, you know. But I'll see what I